Set in a huge open world, Deadside is a hardcore online shooter with survival elements. In many ways, Deadside is not a typical survival game because it mainly focuses on shooting, hunting for enemies, and completing missions. However, it will have the generally accepted traits of all survival games, such as eating food in order to survive. The game's primary locations, such as forests, riverlands, and small cities, will be static and remain unchanged, but the inhabitants of these locations will dynamically change. Such places can be occupied by hostile NPCs, and you will have the choice to either to pass by or clear the territory and collect valuable loot. Grounded was recently announced at Microsoft's X 2019 event in London. It comes from Obsidian, the developers of The Outer Worlds and Fallout, New Vegas. Grounded features 4 playable characters and will focus on cooperative gameplay. For example, one player can begin an outline of a building, and other players can finish it. Each creature in the game, down to the last insect, has its own specific behavior, which varies depending on your actions. For example, killing all aphids in one area will cause ladybugs to migrate to other areas. In addition, Grounded has a crafting system that is based on items that naturally generate in the world. Having collected the necessary ingredients, you can create a gas mask and visit previously inaccessible biomes with a poisonous atmosphere. It's survival meets Metroidvania. Raw is an Indiegogo-supported open-world survival RPG that blends elements of GTA Online and Rust. Raw is basically a sandbox game with an emphasis on social structures and enhanced realism. Players will act as citizens of an island state, where they will be offered a wide range of gaming opportunities, including owning land, controlling air traffic, participating in water transportation, owning a private business, and, of course, violating the law through a life of crime. In short, it's an online version of real life for those who wish to spend some time on a virtual island without leaving their cozy bedroom. Carrion is a very unusual survival horror game. It puts players in the claws of a monster instead of a victim. It's your job to spread fear and panic through the scientific facility in which the game takes place, all while staying alive long enough to kill your captors. As an alien creature that escapes from its cage, players squeeze through air ducts and stalk narrow halls. Gradually, the creature acquires more devastating abilities, becoming more and more powerful. Carrion was originally unveiled at E3 2019, and has received rave remarks from those able to preview it. Chernobylite is a new game from the creators of the critically acclaimed Get Even. It's a science fiction survival horror experience, mixing the free exploration of its disturbing world with challenging combat, unique crafting, and non-linear storytelling. Play as a physicist, one of the Chernobyl power plant's ex-employees, and investigate the mysterious disappearance of your beloved. Try to survive and reveal the contamination zone's twisted secrets. Remember, the military presence is not your only concern. Get ready for a thrilling adventure of survival, conspiracy, horror, love, and obsession. One that will prove to you that it's not about how you face your fears, it's about how you survive them. Ally or compete with other stalkers of the Chernobyl zone to survive. Remember that life is fragile, and it's your decisions that determine the fate of your companions. You can spend as long as you need preparing. However, be aware that your story is still being written. The Eternal Cylinder is an ambitious open-world survival adventure game that will take you on a journey through fantastic worlds full of amazing mutations. In the Eternal Cylinder, players control a herd of alien creatures called Trebhims that must explore a strange and exotic world. The life of the planet is under the constant threat of the cylinder, a massive rolling structure that crushes everything in its path. The game showcases a unique ecosystem with massive, procedurally generated areas. The world is designed in such a way that no two playthroughs are ever the same. This is not the first time players have had the chance to see the world through the eyes of an animal. However, it is definitely the very first time players will be able to control so many animals. Players will primarily control a sugar glider. They will take this little, curious creature on a journey through the Canadian wilderness and explore all of its amazingly diverse flora and fauna. You will be able to change perspectives and play away the survival series as other animals as well. For now, the following species are confirmed as playable: lizards, deer, crabs, foxes, and praying mantis. Last Oasis is a multiplayer survival game about nomads surviving in a sun-scorched world. After the Earth mysteriously stopped rotating, these nomads hide from the light by traveling in huge wooden machines that act as roving bases. The cataclysm destroyed many living beings, turning once prosperous territories into giant deserts and ice mines. Only a narrow strip of space between them, consisting of oases, can support life. Either playing solo or with a group, players must survive and fight against warring factions of nomads, waging an eternal struggle for resources and territory. Players will also be able to build bases and craft equipment, protecting themselves from invaders or taking the fight to enemy bases. The sequel to The Last of Us, one of the best survival games ever created, The Last of Us Part 2 is set in a similar post-apocalyptic setting and looks to use similar gameplay elements as TLOU. This time, a grown-up Ellie seems to be the primary focus, though Joel is said to be more than just a passing influence. Naughty Dog promises an advanced graphics engine will power The Last of Us Part 2, and that there are a number of new enemies to fight. From what we know so far, parts of the game will take place in Seattle, Washington, and that the story is being worked on by Hallie Gross, co-writer of Westworld. With that knowledge, expect another solid single-player experience in The Last of Us Part 2. According to reports, the sequel will not have a multiplayer component unlike the first game. Dying Light 2 is the sequel to a sensational Dying Light. From what we've seen, the sequel will still employ the series' parkour elements, advanced artificial intelligence, and, of course, the adrenaline-pumping gameplay that made the first game such a success. The events of Dying Light 2 take place 15 years after Dying Light. This time, however, players control a new protagonist. Dying Light 2 is set in a massive open world called The City, which is 4 times bigger than the map of the original game. Also, Techland promises an advanced ecosystem and improved interaction with the world. Though we don't yet know exactly what that means, it sounds great, and we can't wait to learn more. In the meantime, be sure to check out 26 minutes of Dying Light 2 gameplay from E3 2019.